loves the game, he has fun with it, and he's very good at it.
I'm an agent provocateur.
Political strategist.
Controversial as you can get.
An incredible capacity for treachery.
Win-at-all-cost mentality.
When people think of Washington corruption, they think of Roger Stone.
Those who say I have no soul, those who say I have no principles, are losers. Those are bitter losers.
There's really nobody quite
10:07 on the Elias Macko Show on CJAD 800. Was anybody surprised last night when they saw the news that Daddy Kushner and Paul Manafort and Roger Stone had been pardoned by the president? I think if you're going to look for a bright side of all of this, and Lord knows we're searching for a bright side in all of this, if Donald Trump is pardoning everybody in his path right now, it means that he actually knows that he's on his way out the door and that Joe Biden will be inaugurated on January 20th. You just heard the trailer from Get Me Roger Stone, one of the finest political documentaries out there, and now joining us on the program, the co-director and producer of Get Me Roger Stone, which is available on Netflix, Morgan Pehme. Morgan, good morning and Merry Christmas.
Good morning, Dave. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you so much for joining this morning. You guys paint quite a picture, you and Daniel DeMoro, of Roger Stone in Get Me Roger Stone. Can you describe Stone to those who don't know who he is?
Stone is a legendary Republican political operative and unabashed dirty trickster. He's a bodybuilding, pot-smoking dandy swinger, and he is one of the most colorful and influential characters in American politics.
Bodybuilding, pot-smoking dandy swinger does not scream Republican to me.
Well, it may be before the Trump era that was the case, but obviously we know that Donald Trump himself has led a very colorful life that is outside of Republican norms.
What did Roger Stone do that led him to being pardoned?
Well, he made several false statements to the government, and he also engaged in witness tampering to try to suppress some negative testimony against him. And so, I mean, his crimes were comparatively minor compared to someone like Paul Manafort or Charles Kushner, Jared Kushner's father. But it's certainly, Roger Stone never turned against the president. I never intimated for 1 second that he would testify against him, and he's been rewarded for his loyalty by the president.
According to a criminal case in 1915 called Burdick versus the United States, a presidential pardon, quote, carries an imputation of guilt and that its acceptance is a, quote, confession. Does this mean that Roger Stone has to admit guilt in order to be pardoned, or is there going to be a loophole in there somewhere?
I mean, I don't think that there is any correspondence between reality and Trump world. And so, you can say whatever, Roger could say whatever he wants, but he will always, swear up and down moving forward that this was a malicious prosecution. He was only being punished for his relationship with the president, and ultimately he was vindicated because of the presidential pardon.
We're speaking with Morgan Pehme. He's the director and producer of Get Me Roger Stone, a wonderful movie to watch on Netflix over the holiday season, one that I recommend highly. I know former CJD 800 host Tommy Schnurmacher called it the best political documentary he'd ever seen. What's next for Stone now? Is he political poison, or does, I guess, the Trump world still revere him?
He's certainly revered in Trump world. He's really looked at a loyalist who came through for the president. I mean, I think the question about Roger Stone extends to everybody in Trump world. Will Trump world continue to surge and be the driving force in the Republican Party, or will the Trump people seem to have this dark mark and be cast into the shadows? I'm inclined to think it's the former. There's certainly been no concerted effort to kind of banish the Trump loyalists, and they wield extraordinary power in the country. And, this went so much deeper than just Paul Manafort and Roger Stone and of course, Charles Kushner, who I encourage people to watch the episode of Dirty Money that Dan and I directed on Netflix called Slumlord Millionaire, because it tells the incredible story of how Charles Kushner wound up in legal jeopardy, including hiring a prostitute to entrap his brother-in-law, who he was afraid would testify against him. But he also pardoned multiple congressmen yesterday who had engaged in political corruption. And this is from the president who came in on the promise to drain the swamp. And yet he is rewarding these members of Congress who engaged in things like insider trading, who did things like using campaign funds to pay for their dalliances with mistresses. You know, this is the behavior that he has wiped the slate clean for. And so, you know, it's amazing that all of these pardons really relate to people who are in his orbit. They were not to right injustices. They were to reward people who supported Trump.
He also pardoned two of the associates of Conrad Black at Hollinger International, which has a Canadian connection as well. He had pardoned, of course, Conrad Black, I believe it was a couple of years ago. And Conrad Black has been writing very, very complimentary things about Donald Trump since. Morgan, we've got a couple of minutes left, and I think that everybody is waiting with bated breath between now and January 20th to see if Donald Trump will try to pardon his own family members and himself. What do you think the odds of that happening are?
I think it really just has to do with whatever whether he is being told by legal counsel that is not possible. But if it is possible, and certainly Trump really hasn't shown any regard for the rule of law, I certainly wouldn't put it past him. And he will make the argument that any type of prosecution of him or his family will just be purely politically motivated. And he's just doing this to protect himself from his malicious enemies. And so it won't be, again, any admission of wrongdoing. I'm not sure to what degree this kind of proactive pardon can cover a sweep of crimes that, you know, they would have to. I'm not sure if it's just like you get a get out of jail free card for anything you've ever done wrong, or whether they would have to identify specific charges. But, you know, Donald Trump has destroyed every single norm in American politics and most of the norms in American life. So the idea that there would be anything that would be beyond the pale for him, I'm sure everybody who's listening to this program knows that is not even something that would ever be a consideration for him. If it's within his power to do it and he can benefit from it, he will do so.
Check out Morgan's movies, Get Me Roger Stone on Netflix, Dirty Money, Slumlord Millionaire episode on Netflix, and The Swamp on HBO. Morgan Pehme, thank you so much for your time this morning. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, Dave. Thank you.